really short it, cause we waiting on our paper. So next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet. Yeah, you don't know about the day, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the Motor City, nothing is as pretty as the hustle. You don't know about the day, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the Motor City, everything ain't pretty, but it's love though. Oh. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet. Yeah.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Spike Kool-Aid. I'm a little bit late. I'm sorry. I apologize, man. I'm a one-man show, and there's only so much I can do. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Spike Kool-Aid for Monday, August the 14th, 2023. Just before we get started, so according to Michael Orr, the subject of the movie The Blind Side, says a 14-page petition. The former NFL star alleges that Sean and Leah Ann never adopted him, instead tricking him into signing a document that gave them legal authority to make business decisions in his name. Well, I say, oh my God, that's going to be something right there. But good morning. Hello. Good morning. I'm going to start doing the show like that. I'm going to start opening the show with the hello, good morning. In this case, afternoon. But listen, when my son starts school, I have to be at the school at 2 o'clock. So we're going to have to push up Spike Kool-Aid to a different time. Watch the community post on this channel to decide what time we go live. I'm thinking 12, no later than 1. 12 would be good, but it could even be earlier. It could be as early as like 8:30, 9 o'clock, because he starts school in the 7s. So we'll be back then. But we'll be on for an hour today. Let me set my timer real quick. I'm going to have a countdown so I can know when to get off. Because one thing, man, when you got the gift of gab, you can keep talking. That is for show. All right, I'm going to do stopwatch, and I know okay, so at about the 52-minute mark, it's going to be time to go. So what's up? What is up, everybody in the chat? Let me pop this chat out real quick. Let me move this over here. What is going on, D. Reese? What's up, GZ? David, what's up? Who's your gaddy? What's going on? What's up? Listen, Julian just proved he ain't getting cut. You know, I saw that. But, you know, he playing against the second team. I'm just saying. He played well, but there's a reason that he hasn't shown out for the past 2 years. How long has Julian been on his team? This is what, year 4, somewhere around there? So listen, he played well, as did his brother. I'm not ready to crown him on a 53 yet. Maybe I'm not. So we'll see. We will see about that. You got to remember, man, this was a lot of second team versus second team. So Julian has to perform against the first team. That's what I want to see. What's up, Dern? What's up? The Dern says, my man, what's the first tune I heard sung for the song since you moved to the new Shake and Bake? So first of all, it's called The Detroiters Theme. It's from a show called The Detroiters on Comedy Central. It ran from, I don't know, 13 to something. And the first time I heard the song was for the Detroit Rams. And I was like, what is this song, man? I like it. So I went and Shazammed it, popped up, and ever since then. And the beauty, the good news is that the creators of this song, actually, it's part of the revenue sharing. So like if somebody copyrights your stream, they take all your AdSense, only AdSense, not Super Chats, but they share. So they revenue share. They didn't do that at the beginning. Once the song, YouTube picked up the song, then it would be a full-blown copyright, and I couldn't make any AdSense from the video. But ever since probably, man, it took about 6 months, man. I don't know if the song is on revenue sharing or if they're doing it for me. I have no idea, but it's called the Detroiters theme. The Dern says, in hindsight, and you know who we have, I wish we got Ramsey on the other side, Sutton on one side with CJ, GJ, and Kirby at safety and Branch at slot. My God. What's up, Eduardo? Hope other guys gets every penny he deserves. Yeah, that's going to be nasty. What's up, Braylon? What's going on? Julian made himself useful. Okay, so are we ready to put Julian on the roster? Has Julian done enough after game one, do you think, to be on the roster? I'm going to say no. Not yet. Not yet. He showed that we have depth if we want it. But listen, I might be in the minority here, but I think there's two things that could happen before September 7th. One, we have what I believe will happen is we will have a number 2 corner that's not on this team, but I've been wrong before. Number 2 is that I wouldn't put off Chase Young just yet. Don't forget that some of these guys are playing to get on different teams. Some of these guys are playing and increasing their trade value. Is Julian one of those guys? I don't know. We've heard his name. We've heard Charles Harris's name. And I don't know about y'all, but Chase in the game that he played, the limited snaps he played on whatever day that was, Friday or Saturday, he looked good to me. So I'm still on Chase Young, man. Not yet. Show out against Jacksonville and Pittsburgh and bring him in to rotate the opposite side of Hutch. I'm gonna tell you right now, James Houston might not make the 53. He might go back on the practice squad and be protected. James Houston is a guy that may not make the practice squad. I mean, the team. But let's get into, are you going to training camp Thursday? Yes, Patty, I am. David says, I just bought my ticket for the watch party. Let's go. Let me turn this down so it don't blow your ears out. Let's go, man. Thank you, David. Thank you. My man. I'm telling you, I told y'all on Friday, they were so excited about the ticket sales that they want to do it again. They already told me. I'm like, man, really? What's up, Rocker Frog? Jahmyr Gibbs impressed me with the way he made the block to give Suffield time to pass. I'm going to the Jags preseason home game. That's what's up. Man, listen, I done my one game for the season. I spent, let's talk about it because we ain't been on since. So let me tell you about my experience at the game, and then we'll get into the Detroit Lions content. My experience at the game was great. I took my sons, I'm going to call both of them my sons, my son and his brother, okay? His brother had never been. We go and we have a great time. So we park on Bobian, which is probably we had to walk a good 7.7 of a mile there. It was raining on the way there. We pull up and just like right on cue, the sun comes out. The sun comes out and we walk to the game bone dry. Now, obviously we start sweating, right? The guy in front of me, it's amazing how when you don't really appreciate, okay, let's say you in class or you're on the school bus and somebody is super duper musty, like body odor galore. You like, oh my God, right? You get to a place and there's 60,000 people. And yes, Ford Field had 60,000 people at a preseason game. We get to Ford Field and you hit that Ford Field air and all of a sudden, this one funky individual or body odor individual has nothing compared to the funk and the amount of body odor that is coming from Ford Field. It was insane. The guy in front of me, he smelled like sweat, dried old sweat. And I was like, oh my God, Lord gee. It was tough, but I had a blast. Now let's talk about the preseason game, okay? Let's talk about the preseason game because I've told y'all over and over and over that said with me, Nate Sudfeld is trash. We got a lot to talk about. We might not even be able to do it in an hour, but we're going to keep this show to an hour. Nate Sudfeld. What can you say about Nate Sudfeld that you can't already say? As a matter of fact, Nate Sudfeld is trash. We got a lot to, it's so much to talk about, and I'm going to try to stay focused, but I have been defending Jameson Williams for the last 2 days. But I want to hear what you have to say about J-Mo, because we are already calling Jameson Williams a bust. I don't understand what is wrong with this fan base. I just don't get it, but we are going to have the conversations that are the hard conversations. Jameson Williams, people already think he's not going to be on this team in 3 or 4 years. They're all ready to throw the towel in on Jameson Williams. What's up, single dad? Patty says that wasn't me. No, it was not. Jack Campbell will be a monster. Absolutely. Denzel says after watching week 1 of the Lions preseason, man, Gibbs is the real deal, and Nate Sudfeld is awful to me. He is. He is. Same old fans, says KD. Nate Sudfeld and my childhood trash computer would have 2 things in common: full of trash and they don't work. That's funny. J-Mo just needs to mature a bit. I think he'll be fine. I am sick and tired of the J-Mo slander. It's going to keep going, Braylon. It's going to keep happening. It's not going to stop. Lions fans are probably one of the most finicky fan bases I've ever seen. It's just, that's how it is. That's how they are. So I don't know. Nate had 1 foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel. Who had a better Friday night, the Weather Woman or J-Mo? I'm going to take the Weather Woman 100%, because according to the Detroit weather, it was a 66% chance of thunderstorms while we were at the stadium. And I walked there dry and I walked back dry. And we drove, check this out. Excuse me, coming back to our side of town. We could see thunder and we could see lightning. You can hear thunder. You could see lightning in the distance. I mean, boom, boom, boom. It looked like it was coming. So I'm going to give that to the Weather Woman 100%. I went to the Dolphins versus Lion game, and there were 60,000 people as well. Wow. Yeah, that was when we were 1-7. No, we were 1-5, because that's the game that changed everything. Yeah. Yep. And then we started selling out after that. Every fan base has its complainers. D-Town, I believe you, but Detroit is something different. Detroit is something just, we are done with you just like that, unless you're Matthew Stafford. If you're Matthew Stafford, then we just cannot seem to let you go. I don't understand. The J-Mo slander reminds me of how the fans treated Ebron. The other woman got more playing time than J-Mo. J-Mo played 51 snaps. That's not bad. He played into the 3rd quarter. And he only came out because Nate Sudfeld came out. Nate Sudfeld and J-Mo are playing, like, they're going to be playing together. All right, so I got a question for y'all. Let's do this. Okay, I want to make sure I got room to do this. All right, y'all. Let's do this. Okay. So we're talking about, and this is my first video on camera, but we're talking about what we're going to start talking. You know what? Let's try that again. Okay, what we're going to do, y'all, we're going to talk about the second cornerback spot. This is my first time on camera, like making a video for this channel, so bear with me. So we're going to be talking about the number 2 cornerback spot. So keep your questions or your comments to that if you want me to read them during the segment, okay? 3, 2, 1. Do the Detroit Lions have the number 2 cornerback on their roster? Emmanuel Mosley is going to be out for quite some time. That is what Dan Campbell had to say. It'll be, quote, a while. When asked if Mosley could be ready by week 1, Campbell was non-committal. I don't know. We'll see. He's doing good. I'm going to say he won't be ready by week 1. And my question to you is the number 2 starting cornerback on our roster right now? I tend to think no. Is Dan or Brad going to trade for anyone? I don't think so. I believe that somebody from somewhere will be cut, and this guy will be a number 2B, like in between being the number 2 cornerback, not as good as a number 1, but not as bad, or I wouldn't say bad, but not necessarily second string. Right now, Our second cornerback, starting cornerback, is Jerry Jacobs. And I'm a huge Jerry Jacobs fan. I think that for everything he is, undrafted, doubted against, always have to prove himself, I love it. Do I think he's starting cornerback material? I do not. That's just my opinion, and I want to hear yours. So if the Detroit Lions, if Emmanuel Mosley's not going to be back, is the number 2 cornerback on the roster right now? Eduardo says, who can we target? That's a good question. I don't think. So Braylon says either Starling or Jerry. You know the crazy thing about Starling and Jerry is they were both undrafted. So for both of those guys to potentially be the number 2 cornerback, that is a huge testament to their ability. And sometimes diamonds do slip through the draft process. I could see Starling. He would have to play very well to outplay Jerry Jacobs because Jerry Jacobs didn't play on Friday, if I remember correctly. So he's the starting cornerback until Emmanuel Mosley comes back at least. I think that's one of the reasons we got Emmanuel, because we knew he was going to be hurt. Jerry is good enough to be that next man up, but just a consistent starter. I mean, if he proves me wrong, fantastic. I just don't think. I look at Cam Sutton and I look at Jerry Jacobs, and I see quite a huge drop off with the number 1 and the number 2 corner. Okay, Shake and Bake says the Lions have over $18 million to address the cornerback issue if they need to. Hunt, you says Jerry Jacobs was arguably better than Okudah. That's facts, but Okudah is the worst. At the end of the Lions season, and keep called Okudah QB1. Okay, all right. Yes, but that just tells you, in my opinion, how bad our secondary was last year. If Okudah was 1 and Amani was benched, that just tells you how bad our cornerback room was. Jacobs can hold down the fort until Mosley comes back. Okay, start Jerry, back up his Starling. Dern, I don't remember. You got to remind me, man. I will be 44 this year. But my opinion, who's out there? I'm not saying like a free agent, stuff like that. I know we just brought Tay Hayes, but he's probably a camp body. I just am not comfortable with Jerry Jacobs being number 2. I'm not. He's better than Amani, but a number 2, I'm a bit concerned about that. So my personal opinion is that Jerry Jacobs is like a solid 4, a solid 3. He's solid second string. The number 2 cornerback needs a breather. Jerry comes in and he does his thing. That I'm just not comfortable. But if Jerry Jacobs is the number 2 cornerback, then that means that we're riding with Jerry Jacobs until Emmanuel gets back. So that's just my thoughts. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the number 2 cornerback, like starting cornerback? So we got Cam Sutton is number 1. And now Jerry Jacobs is number 2. Do you think Jerry Jacobs will start the season as the number 2 cornerback? I myself believe that it is someone out there who is on another team right now that will either be cut. And again, I don't think a trade is coming here. Not for a cornerback, because Brad went and addressed that in the offseason. At the same time, Mosley was supposed to be 2. But he might take a little while. So he could be under a Jamison Williams situation or Hendon Hooker, right? He could start the season on the injured reserve and won't come back to 7. We don't know yet. So my thoughts are the number 2's not on the team right now, but I would love to hear yours in the comments below. I will catch you in the next video. All right. Dern said Jerry is good at man to man, but does not turn his head around and commits a lot of penalties. Yes. That's what Dern and I were talking off the air, and that's what Dern, and that's my feeling, Dern. That's the problem that I have with Jerry Jacobs. I don't trust him as a number 2 cornerback. That's just me, though. Branch is too slow to play outside. He's a nickel safety. The Lions cut Tay Hayes. Shake and Bake, they brought him back today. They brought Tay Hayes back today. So, yeah, that's why you watch me, because I'm up in all the news. All the news, bruh. He's back on the team today. They picked him up today. He played. Could you imagine that being your life? You play in a preseason game Friday night. You get waived on Saturday. You spend Sunday night on a team. Monday, you're back on the team that cut you Friday, in which it's crazy. Full circle. Might have 2 tickets available for August 17th, practice against the Jags. Okay. Yeah, I got mine. I got my ticket, so I will see you there. The Eagles got Blackberry last year when the Giants cut him, so there's hope. See, I did not know that. I did not. They cut him during camp? That's crazy. What about CJ for the outside cornerback? The number 2, I don't see that. I don't see that at all. When we cut Nate Sudfeld? Hopefully today. Hopefully it's already breaking news that he got cut. I think Sudfeld, because Teddy was taking reps today. I don't know where. We'll talk about that when they training camp day 14. That's right. We got to make that video. I wonder why they did that. They did bring back, they cut Trey Quinn and they brought a receiver in and a center, I believe. I got to look that up. No, he's talking about he's talking about the practice, Braylon. The practice on Thursday, which I will be at. Thank God it's supposed to be 80. Listen, weather lady, this is all I want, okay? Just give me some overcast, please. Wednesday, I go to the practice. It is Johnny Blaze outside. Johnny Blaze, hot, sun, baking, sweat, okay? I'm thinking the Lions are going to give me a towel because they had Rocket Mortgage, like towels and bubbly. So I get there. It ain't no bubbly stands nowhere. It ain't no Waterloo, no AHA. I'm looking for the sparkling water. It's not there. Sweat is running down the side of my glasses, my face. My glasses are fogging up. It's so hot. All I want is just soon as we left, I get in the car, I come home, and like 2 hours later, overcast and a breeze. I'm like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? So all I want, weather lady, just give me a cloud, just a steady cloud in the sky to take the sun off my head, bro, because it was hot. It's hot. Derek, did you see the tornado warning on Friday? Yes, I did. And we still made it to and from the game bone dry. So shout out to the weather. I know I can throw better than. Listen, Nate Sudfeld is garbage, and I try to tell these people that, but Nate Sudfeld's going to be the number 2. No, he's not. Stop it. Why do you think all this time? Let me ask y'all a question. All right. We had Nate Sudfeld on the roster last year. We draft Hendon Hooker in the draft. Okay. Now we move on to this year. Okay, we offered Teddy a contract in March. If we had any faith whatsoever in Nate Sudfeld, why did we offer Teddy Bridgewater a contract in March of this year? We were waiting on him. We were waiting on Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater will be the number 2 quarterback. There's no doubt in my mind that he will be the number 2 cornerback. Overcast with the cool breeze is the best. Man, tell me something you didn't. Yeah, no, 10. I got one. I got me a hat, bro. You saw the picture. Or I got me a hat, but it didn't stop the sweat, though, is what I'm saying. It's cooler on the right side of the field. Yeah, it is. But those seats, Braylon, are. But then you got the sun. Yeah. I wanted to be in the bleachers, though, up top. This time I'm going straight up top, man, for real. Martinez looked pretty sharp. Here is my order: Goff, Bridgewater, Martinez. Okay, so you think we keep 3. So we keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster. Last year, how many did we have? 2. We had 2, right? My 5-year-old has a better arm. Nate Sudfeld is garbage, man. Anyway, I could talk about that all day, but it was something else I wanted to bring up here. I think it's something about, okay, let me see hold on one second. Okay, so Aiden Hutchinson missed practice today with a ankle injury. I do not think that it's going to be a big deal. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Hutch is probably just letting some rest. He didn't play on Friday. So maybe he already had this injury and just dealing with it now. Says, I couldn't agree with you more. Martinez looked really good. I tell you what, Martinez stock definitely went up. And I think we're going to find a place for him on the team. So here's what I think is going to happen. Okay. So what I think is going to happen is okay, this is going to be tough. You know what? Let's do this because I got an idea. Okay. How many quarterbacks will the Detroit Lions keep on their roster, the active roster, the 53-man roster in 2023? I have an opinion. Would like to hear yours in the comment section below. We are going to talk about the quarterback position. The Detroit Lions offer a contract to Teddy Bridgewater in March of this year, right when free agency first started. That tells me they have zero confidence in Nate Sudfeld. Now, I want to put something out here. You have what is called coaches speak. Coaches are not going to tell you their plans. They're not going to say, hey, we're going to go sign another quarterback. They're not going to do that. They're going to say all the right things because they're supposed to. I will say that Nate Sudfeld is trash. Dan Campbell will never say that. He'll say all the things he's supposed to sign. But if Nate Sudfeld was number 2, or they were comfortable with him being a number 2 quarterback, they would not have made an attempt to sign Teddy Bridgewater in March. Then in late July or early August, whichever one it was, they bring him in. He left without a deal. They have pursued Teddy Bridgewater for upwards of 4 or 5 months. My opinion is this. How many quarterbacks will we keep on the roster? When Matthew Stafford was here, we really kept 2. It was 2 almost his entire career, but we never had a sustainable backup. My opinion is that he will be, meaning Teddy Bridgewater, the number 2. Nate Sudfeld is getting cut. That's my opinion. Martinez is going to go on the practice squad. Now, Hendon Hooker is the wild card in this whole thing. What do the Detroit Lions do with Hendon Hooker? Do we keep 3 on the roster when he is cleared to play, or do we shelve Hendon all season? What do you guys think? Okay, Patty says 3. Goff says 2. Goff and Bridgewater, 3 QBs. Okay, so how many did we have on the active roster last year? We had Jared Goff and Nate Sudfeld, right? I don't think we carried 3 last year. Should buy Goff, Teddy, Hooker, and Martinez to the practice squad. Okay. But Hooker's not going to be ready to start, so we got to put him somewhere. So I think he goes on the Jameson Williams list. I'm going to call it the Jameson Williams list. He goes on injured reserve. He can't come off for 7 weeks. And then after that, they got to decide whether he plays. They have to put him on the active 53-man roster, which would then send Adrian Martinez, if the Lions do decide to keep 3, back to the practice squad. But listen, if Adrian goes to the practice squad and he's unprotected, somebody can come and scoop him off. Sean Hill was a good backup, but that was 10 years ago. We had Goff, Jeff Driscoll back in the day. Yeah, but Jeff Driscoll was only on his team for like a year. We kept going to get Dan Orlovsky. That we just kept going to get Dan O when Stafford was on his team. The best backup we had was probably Jeff Driscoll. I think David Blau was decent. I mean, he's not terrible to me, but he's playing well in Arizona, so that's good for him. With an emergency quarterback rule, we only keep 2. Okay. So is Martinez the emergency quarterback? Who's the emergency quarterback? Keep 3, have Martinez be QB3 with Hooker. When Hooker is finally healthy, he takes the QB3 spot and Martinez to the practice squad. That's what I think we're going to do, which means that Nate Sudfeld is going to be the odd man out. But do we really care? Because as Mike Tomlin would say, we do not care. Best soundbite of all time. We do not care. Cannot stand Nate Sudfeld. Driscoll was so bad, I heard he is now a tight end. Okay, so Driscoll, yes, was practicing at tight end. This was, I want to say during the preseason. He was trying out at tight end. Okay, so Martinez, so the consensus is in the chat that the Lions would have 2 quarterbacks on the active roster, an emergency quarterback, which does not count toward the 53-man roster, and a practice squad quarterback, which will be Adrian Martinez. So we're all in agreement that Nate Sudfeld is getting cut. He will be cut. My opinion is Teddy 2, Goff 1, Martinez practice squad. Lions may not keep an emergency quarterback. They may or may not do that. Hendon Hooker gets on the Jameson Williams list, a.k.a. the injured reserve till week 7. And then at that point, they bring him to the 53. They then send Martinez, if he's on the active 53-man roster, to the practice squad. I think they only keep 2, though. But I would love you to know your thoughts in the comments below. You know what the chat thinks as well. I will catch you all in another video. So that's what I think is going to happen but if you're just now joining us, okay, couple things I want to tell you, all right? This right here, this absolutely beautiful lion. The link is not in the description of these videos, but it is on the other channel, Detroit Lions Syndicate. You can check that link and get yours today. I talked to the guy who made this yesterday. He told me how many orders he has and how many of them are lions, okay? And I was so proud because 45% of his sales, his current sales, are of this lion behind me. Fantastic. Even though y'all not using my code, man, okay? Use the code. Let the brother know it's from me. He was pretty sure that the majority, if not all of them, were from my, this whole thing. So that is awesome. Very, very awesome. I'm excited about that. Jared Goff, QB1, Teddy Bridgewater, QB2, Adrian Martinez, 3, or practice squad, Nate Suffield, cut, Hendon Hooker, IR. There you go. I like it. Suffield coming to a Walmart near you. You know what? Okay. So just a little side. We're going to break some news real quick. Holdout. Cowboys holdout. Zach Martin has agreed to a deal worth $36 million over the next 2 years. He lost about $300,000 because he was getting fined $50,000 a day. All right, so this is coming from Mike Garofalo. Says Zach Martin was around $1 million, so I was wrong, had $1 million occurred in fines, a number that can't be reduced or forgiven per the CBA. It was an investment to get himself a nice raise over the top. What does that say? Over the top of that from the Cowboys. So basically, Zach Martin had missed, 20 days worth of practice and was fined $1 million. You get fined $50,000 a day. He rolled the dice and gained $36 million over the next 2 years. So that's a hefty price to pay. I don't know what his original contract looked like, but that is a hefty price to pay for a raise. I'd be sick about it. Safewood coming to, he probably throw my groceries in the wrong bag. Y'all are stupid, man. Y'all are stupid. Okay, let me see. Where is this at? I had it. What happened? Okay. It was something about, we were going to look at the projected 53-man roster from, but the kind of some sad news. The guy that was part of the International Players Program, the Detroit Lions waived him with an injury settlement. He got hurt during Friday's game, and that's kind of unfortunate. So coming out of Friday, if you're all right, let's do this. Hold on. Let me find this because I want to find this. Post preseason. That should be it right there. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's do this. All right, let me bring this here. All right, let me move this over here. Let me bring this over here, and let's get this thing going. All right, so we are going to talk, gentlemen and ladies, about the 53-man roster post preseason game, okay? So that's where we're going here. So remember, if you want your comments read during the segment, then talk about this here. All right. So the Detroit Lions' first preseason game is in the books, and we have a projected 53-man roster post preseason game 1. Now, I will tell you, if you are a Mohamed Ibrahim fan, then you might be concerned now because he is injured. He got injured during the game on Friday, and it is a possibility. We've seen guys lose their job because they were injured. Tom Kennedy, no longer with the team. Probably would have been a practice squad candidate had he not gotten hurt. We just read about the Ross P. from the International Players Program who was waived today with an injury settlement, which means that he is significantly injured. He needs to be out. And remember, anybody that is waived with a settlement has to be out whatever length of time. And if they return to the Detroit Lions, they have to wait an additional 3 weeks before they can sign. But what we're going to do now is, prior to Detroit, we're going to talk about the projected 53-man roster post preseason game 1. All right. I want to know your thoughts in the comments below and chat as well. Quarterbacks, we're going to keep 2 on the roster. Check this out. Number 1, obviously, is our guy, JG. Number 2, Teddy Bridgewater. Yes, we've already said that. Bridgewater in, Nate Sudfeld out, because Nate Sudfeld is trash. I'm sorry. I cannot. There's no other way to put that. Running backs, 5 on the roster, which is, I want to say, 1 more than we had last year. We have 5 if you include Jason Kabinda. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jason Kabinda, Craig Reynolds, Jamar Jefferson out, Mohamed Ibrahim, Devin Ozigbo, and Benny Snell. Now, then, this is post preseason game 1. That, I don't know, man. I listen, Craig has been hurt, but he's been able to find a way to stay on this team. Jamar Jefferson, the 7th round pick from 2 years ago, he's also found a way to stay on this team. So I'm not sure if that's going to be the case, but I do like the first 3. I think number 4 is where the debate is coming in. Wide receivers, we keep 6. St. Brown, Reynolds, Khalif Raymond, Marvin Jones, Antoine Green, and Dylan Drummond out. Denzel Mims, wow. Trinity Benson, we knew that already. Maurice Alexander, Chase Cota, Trey Quinn. Trey Quinn was actually cut today after this article was put out. Now, don't forget, last year, I want to say we kept 2 or 3 wide receivers on the practice squad. The practice squad is now 16 men. It has been bumped up from the 10 since pre-COVID. So that's another 6 players that will be on the roster, or on the practice squad, 16 players, I'm sorry, total, but 6 that's added from the 10. So essentially 21 players from the 90 will have to find other teams. And then you have the 69 that will be part of the roster. So let me see. Dylan Drummond, we've always talked about. I don't know, man. Right now, after 1 game, Denzel Mims, Maurice Alexander, Chase Cota balled too, man. So, and obviously, they're not including Jamison Williams, who will be suspended for the first 6 games. Now, according to the changes that were made from their initial 53-man roster prediction, Dylan Drummond is in. I think he took over Mims. Tight end, Brock Wright, Sam Laporta, James Mitchell. There's no doubt there. That's all that really counts. Offensive line, Ian, Decker, Jackson, Ragnow, Vaitai, Sewell, Glasgow, and Sorsdahl, with Jermaine Ifedi making kind of the roster out. Nelson, Owasika, Paulo, Ezzy, Max, Calvin, Swoboda, Cecil, Bobby Hart. That all seems okay to me. Interior defensive line, 4. We keep McNeil, Buggs, Martin, Onwuzurike, okay, out. Benito Jones, Covington, Durden, Smith. Okay. So now that Levi is no longer on the PUP, that outs Covington. Okay. Edge, Hutchinson, we keep 6. Hutch, Harris, Kaminsky, Pascal, Houston, Okwara, as in Romeo. Julian is the odd man out there. Wow. Okay. Remember, this is post preseason game 1, so I'm sure they'll do this after every game. Linebacker 6, Anzalone, Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Derek Barnes, Jalen Reeves-Maben, Anthony Pittman. With the odd man out is Trevor Nowosiki. Sounds right to me. Cameron Sutton. This is the cornerbacks. We keep 4. Sutton Jacobs, who we discussed in a different video, was number 2. Will Harris, Lord. Starling Thomas is who makes number 4, with Gilmore, Dorsey, and Kobe Richardson. We signed him literally yesterday, but I decided not to make a video about him. IR, Jaron Williams, Pup, Emmanuel Mosley. All right, nickelback corners is Brian Branch and Chase Lucas. We keep 2. Safety, we keep 4. In CJ GJ, Kirby Joseph, Tracy Walker. So that means they're probably our starters. Savion Smith with, y'all ready? Ifitu Melifonwu is the odd man out. Brady Breeze, who played very well on Friday, and Brandon Joseph, who got a interception. Changes, Savion Smith is in and Melifonwu is out. That is a big deal. He will be, if Ife Melifonwu gets cut, y'all ready? and does not make the practice squad, he will be the first the first Brad Holmes draft pick that is not on the Detroit Lions, that has not, if he doesn't wind up at least on the practice squad. So that will be kind of sad to see. I know it's coming eventually. Special teams, they have Jack Fox, Scott Daly, and Riley Patterson making the 53 with Parker Romo as the odd man out. Wow. Changes, Patterson in, Romo out with McQuaid released. So, well, what do you think about that? The 53-man roster projection after preseason game week 1. I think it's pretty good. Pretty much the same battles that we'll see. But we still got, these guys got 2 preseason games to make something happen. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Man, there was some surprise names on there. We are spared the Tom Kennedy cutting. We don't have to worry about him because he's no longer on the team. Let me bring this back over here. All right, what are y'all saying? I could see them keeping Covington, Levi, and Pascal, my dark horses. What, to get cut or make the team? I think Pascal is, man, a second-round pick. You know he on the team. Hey, Ronan, what's up, my man? Listen, bro, I didn't get a chance to comment, okay? But whatever you thought I was being on Friday, I was not trying to be like that. So I apologize if you think I was being rude or whatever. I'm not trying to be rude. Sometimes I got to get a little hostile, but I don't know if I was talking directly to you. But the JMO stuff was way too much from other people. It wasn't you. But, you know, I just wanted to say I'm sorry if you think that I was being rude. I wasn't purposely trying to be rude. Okay, Ronan says if he ain't getting cut. I disagree with the special teams. I like Romo, my dark horse, to ball out this year. Unsure about the kicker battle. Yeah, I mean, this is pre-game 1, so we got to see game 2 and 3. But I wouldn't be surprised if Patterson is here because we traded back for him. I'm telling you, cutting Riley Patterson was a mistake that they amended. That's what they did. They cut him last year, and it was a mistake from the very beginning. We suffered at the kicker position for the first 4 games of the season. Let's see how long we've been on. We have been on for, okay, we're almost there. Let me see what my man has sent me. Okay, today's practice is over. Teddy Bridgewater and Adrian Martinez got some extra work with Jamison Williams, Dylan Drummond, Devine Ozigbo, and Avery Davis. That's right. We cut Avery Davis, I want to say, before the preseason game and signed him back today. I don't know what the Lions are doing, why they keep cutting people and bringing them back. All right, yeah, I just want to make sure, man, because, you know, I guess I can come across like that, but I'm not, like, sometimes I intentionally, if you're in, like, my live streams, like when I watch the game and people are trying to be some type of way, but I wasn't doing that with you. Is Hendon Hooker going to play in preseason? That is going to be a to the null. No, he's not even been cleared to come back yet. So Hendon has not been officially cleared to play, so he's not going to play in the preseason. Maybe Teddy can lend JMO some gloves. Oh, that's funny, Casey. That is funny. You know what? Let's do this since we haven't talked about it. I talked about it on my other channel, and let's do this, and I'm going to try to not get hostile today, okay? Because this is a different crowd over here, so I want to get you guys' opinion. The media has dismantled this young man, and after Friday's performance, the fans are doing it now too. Let's talk about it. Jamison Williams had 51 snaps on Friday during the preseason. I think he had 2 catches. He did have a drop, but he caught, one of his catches was a 2-point conversion. Are you worried about Jamison Williams? Now, it's okay to say that you're worried. In my opinion, it's not okay to call him a bust. It's really not. When it comes to Jeff Okudah, I never felt like Jeff Okudah was it. Maybe you have those feelings about Jamison Williams. Maybe you get that feeling from him. For me, Jeff Okudah was that guy. So I understand if you feel like that. But why are we so hard on Jamison Williams? What is it about Jamison Williams that, because a lot of people gave Okudah, I've been talking about the Detroit Lions for a long time. And I've been on this platform since 2018 talking about this team. I wanted Chase Young when Jeff Okudah was taken, or when he was taken, I wanted Justin Herbert. That was the guy I wanted to succeed Matthew Stafford as Detroit Lions quarterback, but we took Jeff Okudah. And to me, is it because Okudah plays defense? Is it because Very little was expected of him, but why does it seem like we give Jeff Okudah way more leniency, who's, in my opinion, was the epitome of a bust, okay? 3rd overall pick, never ever lived up to that, okay, but he got hurt the second year, right? He missed his whole second year. We could say that Jameson Williams year 1 was Jeff Okudah year 2, right? A little different because Jameson could actually play. He played 6 games or so. What is it about J-Mo as to why the fan base is so tough? Is it because of the stuff that happens off the field? Is it because he was hurt year 1? Is it because he's suspended 6 games year 2? Is it because he doesn't talk much? We don't know what's going on in his head. Is it because he has drops? He needs to work on his hands. What is it about Jameson Williams that makes it? Why are we so hard on him? That's the question I'm asking. Remember when Jamar Chase couldn't catch in the preseason? Nah, me neither. They were calling Jamar Chase a bust after he was dropping everything in the preseason. I do think things are a little different. Jamar Chase, game 1, came on. It was on. Jameson Williams, he's got the injury working against him and now the suspension. My opinion is that he's going to be fine, but he has to get on the field. We got to get to do it on the field, man. He's got to play. And unfortunately, here's the question I have for you. Jameson Williams will be available, barring injury, God forbid, because I don't want anybody to get hurt. He will be available 11 out of the 17 games, not including any post-game attempts. So in the season in total, there's 20 games. Jameson Williams will be available to play 14 of those. And he's already going to play a ton in the preseason. I can't believe he played as much as he did. And I think it's going to get ramped up because Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes see some of the things that we see. Drops, all of that. But they knew that. They knew that coming out of college that Jameson Williams, he has to become an NFL receiver. He's not an NFL receiver. He's a college receiver. He has to become an NFL receiver. He will have played 14 out of 16 or 20 potential games, not including the playoffs. If he's able to come back, then he will be able to build up his NFL receptions. His first catch was a touchdown, though. I don't know. Yeah, it was. His first target was a out of bounds, like it was terrible. So I agree with you. Okudah didn't want to be here in Detroit. I wanted Isaiah Simmons. Okudah was trash. You know what? You know what's funny is that had to be one of the worst draft classes in the past 5 years because Simmons, his 5th-year option was not picked up as well. So, and a lot of y'all, I do remember that, man. Okudah, it was Isaiah Simmons. Everybody wanted him. And I don't know. Me, it was Chase, and then it was Herbert. Never really wanted either one. What's up, Sion? What's going on? People were hating on J-Mo because he was drafted, remember? I agree. Okay, so no. Here's my experience, Ronan. My experience from Jameson Williams. Everybody loved it. Nobody didn't like this. I was the only one that was like, what are we doing? Because the defense was atrocious. Everybody else, I remember getting reamed in the comment section of my videos. Like, what's your problem, dude? Jameson Williams a stud. He's the best receiver coming out the draft and all this other stuff. And my thing was, okay, that could be true, but our defense sucks and we need some defense. So I was upset with that. But I don't remember anybody talking negative but me. I'm and then every video I made, people was excited. Jameson Williams says that. And it seems like, I don't know, when he came on the field for those 6 games and he had, 3 or 4 targets. He had a drop. He had the touchdown callback. I'm not sure. He needs those 200 catch a day on the jugs. Absolutely. Between St. Brown, Marvin Jones Jr., Megatron, he will learn what it takes. Well, we got to get him back. What's up, Grit? Says J-Mo will be playing with Teddy this week. I expect a better performance. J-Mo will be better with any other QB than Sudfeld. There were a bunch of not picked up, including Chase Young. Yes, it was only 12 picked up out of the 32 that were drafted, and Chase Young was one too. Now, I feel like Chase Young has way much upside. I never, ever liked Jeff Okudah. I just didn't. I did not like, because he was great in what, zone or something like that. I just never liked the Jeff Okudah pick. I hated it from the very beginning. People forget it was the coaching staff that kept J-Mo out most of the games last year. That is true, because J-Mo was cleared to play week 7 somewhere around there. So I just want to know your thoughts on Jameson Williams. Are you concerned about him? Are you in agreement with the fan base? Or do you think the fan base is overreacting? I do. I think the fan base is overreacting, but I understand. I do understand, but a certain level of overreaction. Calling him a bust is, to me, too far. But if you're overreacting, if you're a little bit nervous, I get it. We've been burned. Charles Rogers, Mike Williams, Roy Williams. I mean, I remember when the Lions drafted Mike Williams, and the dude didn't play the entire season before he was drafted. And we took him in the first round. And I understand if there's a little bit of concern with Jameson Williams. But what I do believe is we have to let him get on the field. If he can't get on the field, he can't prove that. That's one thing. Now, he can't control whether he's injured or not. I guarantee you, Jameson Williams gets injured coming back. He's going to get annihilated, and it could not be his fault. Injury isn't his fault, right? But he's already behind the 8 ball, and he's got a lot of work to do. But with the fan base, he's already losing. So I hope that we can give the kid a chance. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. J-Mo is a generational talent as far as his speed, but he needs to learn to catch with his hands. He catches with his body. That is true. And Antoine Randall L., he's got to work on that. That's his responsibility. J-Mo's trainer is going to be working with him during. Now, this would be fantastic. I wish I would have thought about this before I hit end record to end the segment. What if Jameson Williams comes back and he is just a dog, a stud, catching everything, leaping up, catching stuff? I made the breakdown video on my other channel yesterday, and a lot of you guys were like, this is the preseason. Basically, that Jameson Williams shouldn't give 100% effort in the preseason. I disagree. 100%. Calvin Johnson didn't retire early because of his body. He retired early because he was playing for the Detroit Lions. And the Detroit Lions sucked. They couldn't get anywhere. The organization was run by Martha, and he didn't like it. Calvin Johnson was trying to go to the Patriots. I hope y'all remember that. He wanted to go to the New England Patriots. We would not let him go. So he retired. All right. Calvin Johnson still had a few good years in him. It wasn't his body that made him retire. It was his mental that made him. He's like, I'm done. I'm done playing for the Detroit Lions. That can make anybody retire early. Look at what happened with Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders was 10 years in the game, still dogging folks, still killing people, metaphorically that is, and he retired. The Detroit Lions of old can make, the SOL Detroit Lions can make you retire. So I see other wide receivers trying to make the team. Other wide receivers, star wide receivers of other teams going up to make plays. I'm just saying, if you're a football player, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit. I think, to me, he could have made just a little bit more effort. I mean, if you want to be a G, then go up with one hand and stiff arm with the other. Go up and Odell that thing with one hand. Show what you really are. What's up, Joaquin? What's going on, man? The thing with J-Mo, we've seen it. We know it's there. Let the season play out. And that's 100%. But Detroit Lions fans have zero patience. They have none. They were impatient. We have no patience whatsoever. It's kind of sad. He could put a bit more effort into that pass that resulted in an interception. The pass was behind him, though. See, Grit, was it high? Yes. Was it higher than it needed to be? He needed to get it over the linebacker. Yes. If it was Jared Goff or a decent quarterback, would have been a tighter throw? Probably. But I just would have liked to see more. But you got to remember, this is a guy that's used to burning people. This is a guy that's used to catching with his body. He's not used to catching with his hands. Jameson Williams is used to mad separation because he burns you. And in the NFL, that's not going to happen. Remember how Malik Willis played with a team that he might have been the only one drafted from his entire team. The competition between college and the NFL is so different that you might be like, well, a lot of these players come from college and go to the NFL. A lot of them do, but a lot of them don't, right? So you could be facing a cornerback in college that has the NFL cornerback is leaps and bounds better than this guy. So Jameson Williams, and this is why playing is a thing. This is why, because he has to be, okay, I could do this in college. I can't do that here, right? But he still can burn you, though. We've seen that happen. Sudfeld and in Calvin career, you have seen Calvin's hand. Yes. Stafford ended. Yeah, Calvin hands look like, yeah, I saw him. It's like, it's not a good sight. It was an opportunity for a spectacular catch. He blew that. The INT is still on Stafford is what I'm saying. Yes. Now, you know how I feel about Nate Sudfeld, Grid. I cannot stand him. I cannot stand him. I think from where I was sitting in the stands, it looked like a horrible ball from Sudfeld. It was too high. Yes, it looked way too high from the stands. It was like, what are you doing, man? You overthrew him by a mile. I don't think he overthrew him by a mile. I just don't. Jameson Williams' hands are not up at all. He didn't even attempt to hit. He just did one of these numbers. So while the interception was, the pass was high, I think J-Mo could have helped his quarterback out, is what I'm saying. I don't know if it was high and behind him. He did go up, but it was an awful throw. Well, you know me. Look, I'm not trying to defend Sudfeld at all. I almost called him Statfield. I'm not trying to defend him at all. I cannot stand him. I think he's gutter. But Jameson didn't help his quarterback either. So we'll just agree to disagree. The fans are always overreacting. He's playing with Nate Sudfeld and Helm during the preseason. He's putting his career on the line. The quarterback is pathetic. Thank you for finally agreeing with me that Nate Sudfeld is trash. I mean, you're a little hard on Nate Sudfeld. Calling another man trash is pretty tough. I mean, look, they get paid millions of dollars. If you pay me $1 million, you can call me trash. I don't care. Because I got somebody else taking out my trash. You feel me? So if you want to call me trash, I mean, you're in front of the whole world. You're either, I mean, that's it. It just comes with it. I'm on the internet and people disagree with me all the time and call me other things. That's kind of what comes with the territory. I hope Teddy plays next. J-Mo will be, Teddy is playing on Saturday. Our next game is Saturday. J-Mo didn't drop it. A picture came out that the defender knocked the ball out. What, when you mean in the first quarter, that pass? The surprising thing is that the camp reports that were Sudfeld and J-Mo had developed some good chemistry. We didn't see that in the game, though. That's facts. And when I was there, Nate Sudfeld underthrew Jameson Williams. It wasn't even close. I think if that's Jared Goff, because Jameson smoked that line, man, he destroyed that that Giants secondary player. He on a post, he was at least 5 yards off. And he went up and it was like, whomp, just nothing. So I think it's trash. Goff throws J-Mo open on that play or doesn't throw the pass. Interception does happen. Yes, Grit, agreed. That's facts. That is facts. I tried my best to give Sudfeld a chance after I heard he had a decent training camp, but listen, y'all, let me tell you, I got to take the glasses off, okay? I told y'all that Nate Sudfeld was trash. Now, I don't have media credentials, but I'm a fan. I'm going to tell you the real. I'm not going to tell you some garbage. Nate Sudfeld is trash. I understand that y'all like, well, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, and they're not going to tell you the truth. They're not going to do that. I will. I don't know what reports y'all was reading. You can have a great camp and you are still garbage. A great camp doesn't mean that you're a good NFL player. Now, why do I make content on it? Because it's content. We talk about the Detroit Lions, every move they make. I'm probably going to talk about 95% of that. However, Nate Sudfeld, a good camp does not make him a good quarterback. That changed nothing. Nothing at all. Nate Sudfeld is trash. That's period. That is period. If Dan Campbell's saying all the right things, right? That's what he's supposed to do. Are you going to get DeAndre Hopkins? Well, let's see. Yes. No, you're not. I'm happy with our. Remember, does anybody remember? And listen, I love y'all. I really do. But remember during the combine or the draft, and Brad Holmes was talking about Jeffrey Okudah and how it was really last season was his rookie year? And then we go and we trade the dude. They say what they're supposed to say. But I, the fan, I'm going to tell you the truth. And the truth is Nate Sudfeld is trash. And that's why we offered a contract to Teddy Bridgewater in March, because we have no faith in Nate Sudfeld. There are two things that I truly believe about this team. One, cutting Riley Patterson was a mistake, and they amended that mistake this year. And two, Brad Holmes knew that the backup quarterback position needed addressing. Last season, he said he was going to do it. He waited, and he didn't. And we wound up with Nate Sudfeld. Thank goodness that Jared Goff never got hurt. However, this year, he cleaned it up. He went and got Teddy Bridgewater, and he drafted Hendon Hooker. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to speak coach. I'm going to speak fan. I'm going to be wrong, but I'm also going to be right. I told you about DeAndre Swift. I told you about Jeffrey Okudah. I told you we weren't taking a quarterback. Oh my God. They say what they need to say because that's what they do. These guys are in their locker room. They're not going to call somebody trash. That's what we do. Okay, that's why we're not connected to the team. That's what I love. I'll tell you what, if I ever met some of these guys, they'd be like, and they know me, they're going to be like, man, you said I was. But listen, we might not have any connection with the team, but we know the team. Just like I told you, they weren't taking Jalen Carter. They're going to take, no, they're not. No, they're not. Okay, they are not. Let me tell you something, and we'll wrap up the show. I got a little passionate, okay? Will the Lions trade for Trace Young? I don't know. I do know this. Brad Holmes wanted Aaron Donald part of the trade. That's a big deal, right? What else? Jalen Ramsey, we wanted to trade for him. Deebo Samuel, we wanted to trade for him. So I wouldn't put it past my general manager to want Chase Young. Oh, Brad Holmes doesn't do that. He tries to do it. Okay? Jalen Carter was never going to be on this team. Ever going to be on this team. Jadeveon Clowney is not going to be invited for a workout for this team. He does not fit what we're trying to do. Okay? They're not going to tell you that. I am. I am, man. Listen, it's like we study this team. We study this team. I'm not saying hang on every word I say or any other YouTuber. I'm simply saying that I'm going to see through coach talk. DeAndre Swift, Jeff Okudah, coach talk. That's what it is. It's coach talk. Nate Sudfeld is not going to be on this team come September 7th. It will be Teddy Bridgewater. If Nate, like I said, the way you answer your own question is Teddy Bridgewater is on the team. And even in the whatever February, March for the combine, when or after the season was over, and Brad was like, yeah, you know, Nate's done a good job, blah, blah, blah. But we are we put ourselves in a tough spot. You know what I heard? I heard, man, we didn't get a quarterback, so we stuck. We settled for Nate Sudfeld. The only reason, I think it's two reasons Nate Sudfeld was in the game. One, Teddy was too fresh. He wasn't even in town until right before the game, right? Two, in practice, Jamison Williams has been playing with Nate Sudfeld. So to give him something, okay? Now, we probably see Nate again, and then we see Teddy, and we're going to see. I think even on a week, it's going to be better. I took the glasses off, bro. You know how it is with the glasses. Anyway, how long is Hooker going to stay on the PUP list? That's a good question. I really don't know the PUP list rules, but because of my rant, I went over. All right? So listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's the show. We'll be back on Wednesday to talk about your Detroit Lions as we gear up for the Jacksonville practice. I will be at the practice on Thursday, so we'll talk about that on Friday, along with the preseason game on Saturday, which I will be live streaming on Detroit Lions Syndicate and the Gridiron Blitz. Be sure to check out the description of Detroit Lions Syndicate for the link to the watch party that is happening on the 17th. I told y'all they excited. They said we selling pretty good. So if you don't have your ticket, get your ticket. This is what I think is going to happen. If there's any room available, come after the Kansas City game, that's when the ticket's going to start flying. I think they're going to all, whatever we have left, we're going to sell out between Kansas City. And if we win that game, okay, because let me tell you something. Ford Field, I loved it. I really did. But you know it's cheaper to stay at home. Oh, my God. I didn't tell y'all this. Y'all ready? I paid, which I was ready to pay because it happens once a year. So it's a tradition that we're going to do. I paid $74 for the tickets. I was up top. I'm fine with that. Still a decent seat. We go and we get some chicken fingers, but they're out of chicken fingers. So I get the kids a cheese pizza. I get me a burger and fries. They had 3 burger and fries left in the entire stadium, and I got one of them. Bought 3 drinks. I put it in the comment section. How much money do you think I spent? And then we'll wrap up the show. I bought 3 drinks, 3 meals. With gratuity, I gave 20%. How much do you think I spent? I'll give y'all 30 seconds to put it, and then I'll give you the answer, and then we'll wrap up the show. Nate says 110, 102. Patty says 100. Braylon says 90. All right, is that it? Is that it? Dern says 85. Over 100. Okay, so Dern was the closest. $78 for 3 drinks and 3 meals, 20% gratuity. Best seat in the house is at my house. But that's how we doing it, man. That's how we doing it. Let me cue up. But I enjoy it. That's what we do for the kiddos. But listen, we'll be back on Wednesday. I will tell you all about practice on Friday. We got the preseason game on Saturday. Football is back. I will see you then. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions. Camera B, baby.
Hello, hello, good morning. Horns is blowing, and I'm pissing off the neighbors. Whether homegrown or imported, we feeling shorted, cause we waiting on our paper. So next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Yeah, you don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the Motor City, nothing is as pretty as the hustle. You don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets, cause when you're in the Motor City, everything ain't pretty, but it's love though. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, when we get back on our feet. Yeah.